Hello, world. Yes, today is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Please remember, I am a clairvoyant, clairaudient, so everything is for entertainment purposes only. The full disclaimers in the box, along with the Buy Me a Coffee cream soda. We now have the thank you stuff activated on YouTube, so we kind of avoid the PayPal nonsense. Basically, I did that to try to preserve some form of privacy since it's been invaded lately. I mean, people don't need to know backdoor stuff on my personal life. And anything that does come in through the YouTube site will be applied to putting the RSD CRPS Foundation together. I mean, I do have some legal fees to create the non-for-profit, and so yeah, the first part will be going towards legal fees and to set up the initial bank account for it. And no, I'm not a grifter. Anybody who's known me for ages knows I've been living with this crap ass shit since 2014. Yeah, some things are happening, and yes, this portion is a direct upload, but today is May 29th. I do have something I have to go take care of as soon as this completes the upload. And if I'm back in time, what I'll do is I'll pop up live for about a half an hour at 4:30 Chicago times. That's what, 4:30, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10:30 UK time, 11:30 Euro time. So I'll just pop on live for half an hour. Because today there's a lot of stuff rocking around the world that if I'm recording this now and it's like 9:20 something in the morning, things are going to change by 4:30 today. We've got the elections in South Africa, and right now I guess people are still voting, so I am going to shoot a message out to Bookworm and ask her opinion on things. Also, there's stuff that's happening in Sydney, Australia. I guess the president of the University of Sydney has caved, and I guess the name is what, the guy's Mark Scott. He's completely caved and is now, instead of having the adults, the real administration, make decisions for the university, he has caved and is now allowing the pro-Palestine idiots to run the university. Well, in my opinion, by doing that, all government subsidies and anyone who does not appreciate the anti-Semitic behavior of the college administration, enrollment is going to drop, dissipate. And it will be a school run by Tehran. That's what's happening. Now, we know that the World Health Organization wanted everybody to sign the stupid pandemic treaty. Well, that went up in smoke. Yeah, they were having pipe dreams. And pipe dreams originate from people who would smoke the byproduct of the poppy flower. And they'd go into this euphoria and have these wonderful dreams because of what they were smoking in a pipe. So yes, members of the World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, Yeah, they're smoking wacky shit. And so they're having all these delusions of grandeur. Yeah. We know Klaus Schwab was basically told to resign. Who are the next elders of this Davos group? Who are they going to be forced out and replaced by? Yeah, it's getting spooky because now the evil guys that were raised with the firsthand, some of it firsthand knowledge, but at least were raised by people who actually experienced life in the United States and Europe between 1928 to 1950. Those people are being eliminated, pushed out in favor for a new brainwashed group of idiots. Who's pulling the strings? Who's the puppet master of these under 55s that are coming in and trying to take over? Who is the real puppet master? I wonder. Now we've got a lot of stuff coming out of New York. And now it's because we know Donald's on trial. They're in closing arguments right now. It should be going to the jury soon. We know the judge is an Obama-approved member of the court. And we know it's a kangaroo courtroom. And these are all Obama appointees, Barry Soetoro approved. We know Barry Soetoro is a Muslim, so these are all approved justices that were approved by the dude out of Tehran that went down in the chopper crash. Because we know Barry's a Muslim. And the Democrats don't realize it, but they're selling themselves out. And now we've got a lot of people freaking out. I mean, Bobby De Niro, he's a short little shit, okay? I worked in film production. Most of these actors and actresses are actually very short people. And one time I was working on a show where Gary Sinise was there, and I was in front of the camera, and I was standing right next to him, but we were on a staircase, and the camera and the director go, "Hey, Ann, go down to the lower step." And I'm like, okay, because, and then I looked down, I'm like, literally the shoes that Gary Sinise was wearing? No, it wasn't Gary Sinise, it was David Caruso. That's who it was. It was like CSI Miami, something like that. His shoes were like, had 2 to 3 inch platforms built up. Now I'm 5'8", and they said, oh, it didn't look, camera angles didn't look right. The frame was off. So I had to go down one step, which the risers on a piece of stairs are, what, 6-8 inches? So they had to lower me by 8 inches. So I was basically just shy of the actor's head. Now I've met John Malkovich. He's short. Gary Sinise is short. Some of these rock and roll dudes. Oh yeah. Some of the guys that were Deep Purple Rainbow, I tower over. Another group that is from New England, I can look down and pull the gray hairs out of their heads. I mean, the boss from Freehold, New Jersey. Yeah, I'm taller than him too. And I just think it's ironic. I mean, we see De Niro totally bashing Donald, and I'm like, yeah, he's a stupid Democrat. So it's like he and Madonna and Streisand, they're all saying, oh, we're going to move if Trump wins. I go, well, why didn't you move the hell out in 2016-17? Why are you still in the United States? Let's see when these people put their houses up for sale and take the bail out. And yeah, De Niro just trashed his career he's not going to be respected by a lot of people. The one person that is standing up and is really pro-Donald is Dennis Quaid. And now, back in 2007, there was a movie made called The Express, the Ernie Davis story. And that's really ironic because on that film, I was like doing double duty. I was in front of the camera and also working behind the camera. And I had the opportunity to actually meet and have some interaction with Dennis Quaid. And it was something, and I didn't realize he was close by, but he heard me make a sarcastic crack about something, and he just, next thing I know, I heard the hardest laughter coming out, and I turned and I looked, and it was Dennis, and he would see me, and I was like he kind of, they were like, who is that woman? And yeah, that's how I got one of my nicknames. And the guys kind of laughed, and then when we were filming one scene that is now on the extras, there's the scene where Dennis Quaid and the other actor, they're walking next to the bus containing the team, and they're talking about stuff, and the way they edited it, you didn't see the cars driving back and forth. They were between the bus, and I was driving one of the big ass Cadillacs. And it was funny. There was a stupid production assistant that thought he kind of knew better, but he didn't realize that they're like, oh, this one is probably just an extra. But the guys from Transpo, the picture car coordinator on the show, he knew. He goes, damn, yeah, he knew I could drive and was damn good at it. And so we instead of using the production radios, we used our cell phones, and we said, let's scare the crap out of this production assistant. Let's play chicken. And this production assistant was giving us the high sign of when to move. Well, the other driver and I, we just like, he was coming one way towards me from one side of this production assistant, and I was driving towards the production assistant. Basically, what we did, we played chicken with this dude. We knew what the width of the vehicles were, and we knew what speed we could top out at, and knew what to drive at to hit our marks, so everything would be the same for every single take. And what we were doing was made sure with that this production assistant stayed in his little circle that was drawn on the ground. He didn't know if he stepped out if one of us would hit him, but of course we wouldn't. But the kid was scared because we were going so close to him. We knew what we were doing, but he was like, how do I put it? He was a nepotism hire for the show. And we just kind of gave him, he acted like Mr. Big Shot because he was so-and-so's kid, and we're like, duh, that means nothing. It just means you had to be hired. Doesn't mean you know what you're doing. There's a lot of nepotism in the film industry. I'm kind of lucky because my grandmother and great-grandmother, They were both in wardrobe, and my great-grandmother actually worked at the old S&A Studios, the original S&A Studios back in here in Chicago, back in the 19 teens. Yeah, she actually went and, as the story goes, she was working with this one English bloke. Super, super nice guy, but always looked at the young girls. But my grandmother went and picked up a suit to build a costume for this guy's character. And she, back in the day, they used to call it Jewtown, which was all like pushcart vendors and stuff and secondhand items. And she said, yeah, the way my mom and my older aunts said, they go, oh yeah, Leah Kaja. Yeah, she went down to the old Jewtown and picked up an old frock coat and stuff and then modified it for that guy Charlie. And that was for a movie done in 1915. Those of you who are smart will know what I'm talking about, because my great-grandmother was a tailor. Yeah, she made men's clothes. My grandmother was a tailor, but by that time they were out in California. Yeah. Yeah, my gran actually trained one of the uh, one of the top costume designers still in the industry. And I was on the show Time Traveler's Wife. And they were calling for a scene set in the 1960s. And so, on a fluke, when I went for the wardrobe fitting, I brought with me this sweater that was knitted back in the 60s, because there were pictures of my brother wearing it when he was like in 6th grade. So that was definitely 1960s. And the costume designer, she goes, God, that sweater's beautiful. Where did you get it? I go, oh, it was hand knit and it's been passed down. And she looked at it and I go, yeah, my grandmother knitted it. She used to work in California. She did this. And then she goes, what's your grandmother's name? And I told her. She goes, oh my gosh, you're Lucille's granddaughter. So of course, the next thing I know, I've got the most gorgeous costume on earth that I'm wearing. I looked so great on camera that the leading actress, when she saw me in the scene, went up to the director and said, either she goes or I go. And so basically, they had to apologize to me. The wardrobe designer, costume designer goes, what the heck? I go, Julie, I look too good. The talent is having a snip fit. And one of the producers, who I didn't realize who it was because I thought he was taller, but he's a lot shorter than people realize, came up to me and apologized. We're sorry, but you're still going to get paid for the day. Stick around, but we can't have you in the same frame as the female lead. So we just laughed about it. And yeah, and then later on, a few years later, that same guy who was producer on Time Traveler's Wife, he was there with his significant other for the movie Wanted. And yeah, I did a stunt on that. I was driving the gold car that nearly hit James McAvoy when he was going into the store. And it was like, the guy comes up, he goes, God, you look familiar. I go, well, yeah, you're the producer who apologized to me because you kicked me out of the scene on the Time Traveler's Wife. He goes, oh my gosh. So, yeah, I was kind of recognized, which put the assistant director's nose out of joint. and caused an argument with his significant other. And I just said, this is bullshit. So I called somebody else that I knew that knew the female lead's daddy. And I said, you won't believe what's going on here. So I guess he called her daddy, and then she shut up. She goes, Dad, don't you know who that's the niece of so-and-so. And so she shut up. Kind of funny how the world works. But getting back, yeah. Dennis Quaid has gone out there. He played the coach in the movie The Express. Absolutely a great guy. He's a true patriot. And he and others like Dennis Quaid, they are supporting Donald. And they're all giving him big thumbs up and singing his praises. And hopefully later today, I might have good news when I get back live, because one of the things that even we joked about on set of The Express was that, yeah, a lot of us were the offspring, or actually were alive while Dwight Eisenhower was, the former president, was still alive. And I did put in my community page, watch the video about Dwight Eisenhower. And those of us now that are over 55, we're the people raised with the Eisenhower values. And those are the same values that Donald is supporting. And this is what we have to do and bring back to our country to make it great again. Go back to how Dwight D. Eisenhower from Abilene, Kansas, his ethics, his moral fortitude, that's what will save America. Yes. I mean, we had Give 'em Hell Harry, and then I Like Ike. This is the political ideology that we need. And Donald has, because he was raised. And the values, the Eisenhower values, were instilled in Donald Trump when he was a kid. And he's lived those for his entire life. Yes, and at that time, like I talked about the other day, marriage is a business arrangement. Very rare was it a true love match. As long as you didn't scare the horses, you could do what you wanted. So this bullshit trial is being brought forth by idiots who don't know the protocol of people who were raised with Eisenhower values. Yeah, that ho idiot who's running the state of New York. AOC's a stupid ass idiot. She doesn't know history. Yeah. That Alvin Bragg, he certainly doesn't know his protocol, the etiquette of history. Yeah. Doesn't know shit. And people are having fits about Donald being president again. I go, listen, I would rather live under the Trump dynasty than Barry Soetoro's dictatorship. In 30 years, the extreme Muslims, the radical Islamic mullahs, have destroyed Europe. UK's in destruction mode if they don't do something fast. The radical Muslims have been crossing the border by the thousands daily. Barry's applauding it. No. We need to eliminate the demonic Democrat dictatorship. And if it means putting Donald Trump in and his heirs as our dynastic leaders, and they're bringing back the Eisenhower way of life, so be it. We want it. Yeah. I mean, and yes, and in fact, so much that even late yesterday afternoon, early evening, I got a call from California asking me about things. Well, I'll be talking again to that person this evening. Some stuff may be hitting the fan. Some goofy stuff is hitting the fan. But I'm standing behind the fan, and all the poop's going to hit on the person who's tossing. Yeah, they're trying to toss poop at me while I'm behind the fan, and it's all blowing back on them. And producer-director out of LA has been watching and is laughing his ass off. He goes, "We've got an idea." So it's a project. And he is like, we're just laughing. I mean, especially something that was, somebody made a comment on today. They were making comments about somebody who wore stiletto heels to a polo game, because I guess her husband stands over 6 foot and she's vertically challenged. Well, duh, yeah, a lot of people are most of the people in the film biz, when you see them, you don't realize how short they really are. On Flags of Our Fathers, I did not recognize Clint Eastwood because I thought he was shorter than me. And when I realized that, I did apologize to him. I said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Eastwood. I didn't recognize you. I didn't realize you were actually this tall." And he just looked at me, and he looked me up and down, and he goes, "Well, yeah," he goes, "you're pretty tall for a female." And yeah, he goes, "Considering the lead actor in this movie, you're 4 inches taller than." I go, "I know." I go, that's why he's like, that's why I work crew side, because back when I was a teenager, my mom introduced me to one of her old friends, old Blue Eyes, and I was, in my teenage years, and I said, "Yeah, I want to get into the movies and stuff." And he goes, "Sweetie, you're too damn tall. You got to go crew side, behind the camera, because no director or casting director is going to pick you because you're too damn tall." Which, hey, at the time when I should have been chosen for, I was making callbacks for ingenue. But once they saw the fact that I'm walking in a pair of heels, and I'm standing 6 foot, where the lead actor might only be 5'6", scratch her off the list, just because of my height. So yeah, everybody, I'm going to go get some stuff done, and when I get back, I'm just going to pop online for half an hour today. Today's the 29th of May, 2024, so everyone have a good day, and let's see what this election in South Africa brings. Let's see what the verdict comes out in New York. Bye-bye.